Welcome back to Panorama Anime. Today I will continue my recap of Jujutsu Kaisen. At the end of the last episode, Satoru Gojo fights with Jogo, and Gojo brings Yuji to the battlefield in the middle of the fight to teach him about domain expansion in a live fight. Jogo claims that the boy will distract him, but Gojo believes that the cursed spirit is too weak and he can handle it easily. Jogo is enraged and activates his domain expansion, Coffin of the Iron Mountain, and as he is about to attack, Gojo activates his own domain expansion, Unlimited Void, which paralyzes Jogo. Gojo decapitates him and is about to interrogate him when suddenly a plant spawns a field of flowers which distracts Gojo and Yuji. The distraction allows the curse Hanami to grab Jogo's head and run away. Afterward, Gojo decides to train Yuji himself in order to make him stronger for the exchange event. Elsewhere, Geto returns to the curse's hideout and reveals that the curses will attempt to seal Satoru Gojo on October 31st in Shibuya. Somewhere on the Tokyo Jujutsu High grounds, the first-year students Megumi and Nobara run errands for the second-year Maki Zenin. In another area, the second-year students Panda, Maki, and Toge Inumaki are having a discussion. Panda is worried about the meeting with the Kyoto school's principal. Maki believes that the principal won't pull anything out of the blue, but that's not what Panda is worried about. He is worried because he may have brought students that may try to pick a fight with the first years. At the vending machines, Aoi Todo and Mai Zenin confront Megumi and Nobara. They arrive and claim they're checking on them since their classmate died. Mai begins to taunt them and mocks their dead friend Yuji, which irritates both of the first years. Aoi is not interested in this at all, and claims he only came here to confirm whether the Yuta Okotsu's replacements will be entertaining. Todo takes his shirt off and asks Megumi what kind of girls he likes, and claims depending on the answer, he'll beat him half to death. Todo admirably declares that his type of woman is tall with a big butt. Megumi doesn't want to discuss his taste in women with a man he just met, and Nobara says that it's too hard for an introvert like Megumi to discuss such things. Todo believes the kinds of women a person likes says a lot about them. If they don't have good taste, then they're boring people, and Todo doesn't like boring people. He looks forward to the Goodwill event and he can't accept that it might turn out boring. He demands an answer from Megumi. Megumi has a flashback of his sister and says that as long as a person is compassionate, then he doesn't need anything else. He wants to avoid the fight, but the Rock is not satisfied with his answer. He tells Megumi that he's boring and immediately attacks him. Nobara wants to help Megumi, but Mai holds her back by wrapping her arms around her from behind. Mai claims that Megumi won't stand a chance against Todo. Nobara claims that even though Maki and Mai are sisters, Mai is less attractive, which angers Mai. Todo hits Megumi all the way outside and says that the boy has trampled all over his kindness. Megumi recognizes Aoi Todo's name for being the sorcerer who exorcised all the curses in the night parade of 100 demons from Shinjuku to Kyoto. Megumi also remembers that he didn't use any of his innate techniques to defeat 5 grade 1 and 1 special grade curse. Todo denies this rumor and reveals that he did use his innate technique against the special grade, shocking Megumi. Megumi is bleeding and combines Nue with his toads to create winged toads from his bottomless well technique. However, Todo easily counters this technique and brutalizes Megumi with his pure force. The toads were able to slow him down, but it wasn't enough. After being brutally punished, Megumi stands up and says that while he had no intention to fight, he'll show him what he's capable of. Todo runs towards Megumi with full force, and as Megumi is about to use his other technique, Panda and Togi arrive. Toad uses his cursed speech to slow down Todo while Pando punches him backwards and saves Megumi. Panda tells him to leave before he decides to scream, "No." Before taking off, Todo tells the second years to give Yuta Okotsu a message. He wants Yuta to take part in the exchange event. Yuta is also a second-year student at Jujutsu High. Meanwhile, Nobara is on the ground after being shot by Mai. Mai tells her that she should pick her fights better. Maki arrives to help and the two sisters begin to argue. Nobara gets up and attacks Mai using Maki as a distraction. Nobara demands that Mai hand over her summer uniform, but Todo arrives and tells Mai that they are leaving. She says that she's just getting started, but Todo wants to go because he has tickets to shake the hand of his favorite pop star, Takada-chan. As they leave, Mai says to Nobara, "You won't get off this easy at the exchange event." Nobara and Maki walk together and talk about Maki being unable to use cursed energy, which is why she uses cursed tools. She's also unable to see cursed energy, Her glasses allow her to see it. Nobara remembers that's why Yuji was also given a cursed tool. Nobara asks Maki why she wants to become a sorcerer if she can't use or see cursed energy, and she tells her that her family was used to belittle her because she wasn't able to use curse energy. She wants to become a great sorcerer to spite her family of gifted sorcerers. Elsewhere, Gojo arrives to meet with Principal Gakugange from Kyoto. Gojo thanks him for the other day, and the principal acts confused. Gojo then tells him he is referring to the Yuji Itadori incident, in which the student who happens to be Sukuna's vessel died. The principal claims to have no idea what he's talking about, and Gojo tells the old man to stop playing dumb. He believes that the principal is the head of the conservative group of sorcerers, and that he was involved in setting up the trap. While Gojo is disrespecting the principal, Kasumi Miwa, a student nearby, urges Gojo to mind his manners and says she will report him. He doesn't mind, and she excitedly blushes because Gojo spoke to her. Gojo reveals to the principal that he was attacked by 2 unregistered special grade curses. The principal doesn't care, and Gojo tells him not to get him wrong. It was like getting coerced into taking a tour of Tokyo, an easy task but annoying. Gojo explains that between Todo, Yuta Okotsu, and Yuji, Sukuna's vessel, there is a new wave of power that has grown bigger than the conservatives can handle. Soon they won't be able to measure the coming age of sorcerers and curses with special grade. The principal tells him that Gojo is getting out of line, but he brushes it off and tells him that's all he wanted to say and leaves. But then he re-enters and says that the principal of Tokyo Jujutsu High, Principal Yaga, won't be arriving for another 2 hours. Gakugange asks Miwa for tea, but instead she runs off to get a picture with Gojo. Meanwhile, at Takada-chan's personal handshake event, Toda receives a handshake from his favorite pop star and asks her for a Takatan beam. He is frozen in awe and is taken away. A month later, 3 heavy corpses are found in the Kinema Cinema movie theater. Mahito, one of the curses plotting to seal Gojo, is waiting in an alley. A young man comes and asks, "How did you do it?" And Mahito is shocked. He replies and says, "Wow, you're able to see me." And the next day, Yuji and another sorcerer approach the movie theater to investigate. Prior to Yuji's mission, a young student is getting bullied by his classmates at Satozakura High. His name is Junpei Yoshino. A student claims that Junpei was staring at their girlfriend's chest. Junpei doesn't want to get in a fight, so he accepts being bullied. But secretly he fantasizes that if he had a button that could kill everyone who hates him, he would push it without any hesitation. Later that day, Junpei skips his school to see Human Earthworm 3 at the movie theater. Unfortunately, the students that bullied him at school also happen to be there. Junpei recalls when he was bullied for looking at a girl's chest and he claimed that she is only using them for attention, and they listen because they want to hook up with her. When he points this out, the bullies beat him harder. The truth always hurts. The students are talking loudly in the theater, which annoys Junpei. Suddenly, Mahito, a cursed spirit, comes in and kills all of the bullies for making too much noise in the theater. Junpei walks down to investigate what happened to them, and he sees they have become monster corpses. He immediately leaves the theater and begins to track down Mahito. Junpei finds him in an alleyway and believes he is not a human. When he catches up to him, Junpei asks Mahito if there is any way he could do the things that he does. Back in the theater, the authorities hand over the investigation to Jujutsu sorcerers. Yuji and Grade 1 sorcerer Kento Nanami are investigating the theater. Nanami points out that when a curse technique is used, the residuals are always left behind, but Yuji is not able to see it. Nanami tells him to focus. Yuji takes a moment and begins to see them after focusing. Nanami says a good sorcerer can sense it even before seeing it, and so he doesn't praise Yuji for being able to see them. Yuji is humiliated for not being able to sense it in the first place. Yuji suggests that they go all out, but Nanami argues there is no need to go all out. A moderate effort will be enough, which makes Yuji feel as though they're not getting along so far. Yuji recalls that Satoru trusted Yuji's training on this mission to his dear friend Nanami, the ex-banker sorcerer. Nanami believes that sorcerers are horrible, but working for a company is equally bad. Nanami has absolute trust in Gojo, but he doesn't respect him because he constantly breaks the rules and regulations. However, Nanami does not view Yuji as a full-fledged sorcerer. In the theater, Yuji and Nanami are following the residuals to the roof of the building. As they walk outside in the rain, a cursed spirit appears. Another one appears shortly after, so Nanami suggests that they should fight each cursed spirit separately. Yuji wants to show Nanami his abilities so that his teacher doesn't underestimate him. But Nanami feels that he is a child, and he still requires guidance and protection. Nanami tells Yuji, "You have faced several life or death situations, but it doesn't make you an adult. It is the losses that build up throughout life that make people grow into adults." Nanami fights the curse and divulges how his curse technique works out loud. He explains that his technique allows him to forcibly create a weak point on any opponent and cause a critical hit. Yuji then says, "Are you talking to me?" But Nanami ignores him and continues explaining while fighting. Nanami teaches Yuji that revealing one's technique gives an advantage in a battle. It increases the effectiveness of one's abilities in battle. Nanami shows him by attacking the creature with a single slash of his sword. Yuji is now able to focus on his opponent as Nanami is finished speaking. Yuji shows off what he learned during his training. He is able to channel cursed energy effectively into his fists. During the training, Gojo taught Yuji that his cursed energy has a time lag, which allows him to turn one strike into 2 impacts. Yuji brings down his opponent by using his attack Divergent Fist. Nanami is quite impressed with his technique and admits that he can see what Gojo sees in Yuji. He silently appreciates Yuji and his room for growth. Nanami prepares to finish them off, but notices something suspicious. He takes a picture and shows it to Yuji. Yuji says the cursed spirit doesn't appear in photos and asks him why they are appearing. Nanami believes these creatures are not curses. He brings the curses to Shoko Ieri, who confirms that they are ex-humans who were mutated by a cursed technique in the same way the victims at the theater were. Shoko assures Yuji that they are not alive, and he shouldn't feel guilty about ending their existence. Yuji is enraged that so many people lost their lives, and Nanami is surprised to see his genuine feelings. Nanami decides to cheer him up. He reveals that their target manipulated the residuals to lead them into that trap, so now they'll have to use maximum effort to find the curse. And Yuji is ready. Meanwhile, Mahito takes Junpei to his hideout. He teaches him how curses manifest from the fears of humans. Humans not only fear yokai legends, but also natural disasters, which is why so many curses appear after a disaster. Mahito is born from the hatred that humans feel for each other. Meanwhile, Nanami explains to Yuji that he was able to find their target's hideout. However, he wants Yuji to follow the lead on Junpei, the only witness of the crime that happened in the theater. Yuji is joined by Ijichi while Nanami investigates the hideout. Yuji realizes that he hasn't met another assistant besides Ijichi, and Assistant Ijichi explains that he's the only one who knows he's alive. Yuji is about to leave and tells his teacher to be careful, and Nanami tells Yuji to stop calling him sensei. Yuji says he will call him Nanami, and Nanami says he will slap him. The next day, Yuji and Ijichi find Junpei and follow him with a small curse trapped in a box and wrapped in talismans. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. If you want to find out what happens next, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Panorama Anime, and comment for the next episode.